Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. I would love, I'm getting echo, hang on, let me, hey, I got a computer over here. There we go, echo's gone. So I would love to just dive right in and make the most of our time. You know, the irony, I said, I'm like, let me get my thoughts in order and let's just, and I went to I have a little sketch pad right here that I use to talk through, kind of guide my thoughts, and, and I thought, let's have coffee. I was like, that would be a great way to just kind of introduce the session. I was like, I don't have any coffee, and so I'm like, I got to go run and get some coffee. So what I want to do in this session is I just want to kind of dump on you some thoughts. Dump is even the wrong word. That's why I jotted this down. I want to sit down with you and just talk through as if we were having a cup of coffee. I would love to just sit and chat and say, let me help you find a job, or let me help you help somebody else find a job. Finding a job, I have found, as I've talked to more and more people, is almost like winning the lottery. That's how most people view it. They have some skills, but they're not too sure exactly if that's valuable, if people are going to want them. So they're like, okay, I guess I want to be a blah. And where do they get the blah from? They from a job description they saw somewhere, from a friend they talked to once that said you can make a lot of money if you're a blah. Well, I'm kind of good at computers, so I guess maybe I could find something with computers. Like that's how most people start to look for a job. And I can talk to that. It's a whole topic on how to build your passion. There is no such thing as finding your passion unless you just happen to literally win the lottery. So I'll talk more about that if you guys want to hear about that later. That's funny. Somebody just said, and hang on, I just want you to see. Let me move a couple windows around. Sorry, with live streams, I think I have it all set up, and then I'm like, and I forget something. I like reboot the computer, and then I lose it all. So I'm constantly scattered. So here, let me give you perspective. This is I'm looking at you. This is I'm looking at the chats coming in. So when you see my eyes going like this, you'll know that I'm looking at the chats. So here we go. I'm looking at you, I'm looking at the chats, and this is where I'm looking at myself because I have a little window so I can make sure the right camera's on and I haven't blown anything out. It's helpful because sometimes we're like, what's he looking at? So that being said, let me get back. So I wanted to sit down and just literally kind of have a cup of coffee with you, literally right now, and talk about how do you guide somebody into finding a job. The reason I wanted to have this live stream, let me give you the why, is because I see a lot of people struggling, as I was just mentioning before my mind took me on to where the windows are. I see a lot of people struggling with how do I break in? I guess I just have to know somebody, or I have to be an amazing social media, or I have to have experience, or I have to have a college degree, and so you and I are having coffee right now, right? Please know that I'm having a cup of coffee with you. I'm telling you from my own experience and from what I have seen now with the experience of 1,000 others. Thousands and thousands of others. I've crossed the line on 20 years of online training. I started a YouTube channel about 8 months ago. So, ta-da! Welcome to my YouTube channel. But I've been doing online training for a good 20 years. And over that time, I have literally talked with thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people that are all in the same boat where they're like, how do I guess I have to get a degree. And so as we're sitting here having this cup of coffee, I'm going to tell you, don't get a degree. That's why I titled this the way that I did. And I preface, I'm holding this cup of coffee sacred with you and I right now, because I'm not doing this in order to offend anybody. I'm not doing this to try and say a college degree is worthless. Or that the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars that some of you may have spent on a college degree is worthless. It's not. It's the journey of life. So let me get into it. Let me talk about why I titled this the way that I did, and then I'm going to tell you from my perspective how to get a job, and I'm going to tell you from the perspective of an employee and an employer, because I can talk to both. I started a managed service provider, an MSP, 10 years ago. I've gone through a lot of interviews. Both I've been interviewed in my life, and I've interviewed a lot of other people. And I can tell you what employers are looking for, and so how to position yourself to where you where you just literally freaking rock it. I mean, and so let me, and I'll give you some really practical examples. The reason I say don't get a degree is if you have one, is because degrees are there as what I would call a mark. If you're an employer, so let me tell you, I'm gonna step back from the employer's perspective, right? I'm an employer. When I put a job posting out there, first and foremost, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what I'm doing with the job posting. I know kind of what I'm looking for, sort of, but I just Googled that. I'm like, I think I need a network engineer, for example. I think I need an IT guy. I mean, what do we do? You know, like put yourself in the shoes of the employer. We make t-shirts, right? Okay, we're really successful. We're selling, I need people to ship t-shirts. I need people to box. I need somebody to make sure the computers stay online, the network running. We don't lose our connection to Dropbox, because that's where we store all our stuff, because we don't know any better, right? Like that's the employer. They don't know what they want. They're just like, I need somebody. So they Google a job description and they put it out. And let me tell you, first time I put a job description out, I'm like, this is why people ask for a college degree. You get hundreds of resumes as an employer. You're like, hey, here's my job posting, hundreds, if not thousands, depending on the size of the employer. So you're just like, oh my gosh, like, I need a system. I need something to whittle these down. And so years ago, decades ago, and it was the only thing that people had, they're like, get a degree. That's why your mom and dad told you, go get a college degree, is because that's your way of differentiating yourself from everybody else that's out there, because there was nothing else available to you. So yeah, it was good advice 10, 20, 30 years ago to go get a college degree, because you have to, there's the 1,000 resumes that somebody just got. Most of them are blasted, where people are just like, I'm just going to flood my resume everywhere. I don't even know if I qualify, good luck. And that's why people see getting a job as a lottery. Is because they're like, okay, I hope something good happens there. It's kind of like a spray and pray with your resume. Well, on the employer side, they're like, so you immediately segment those. You're like, okay, let's put a 4-year degree is required. So now your stack goes from 1,000 down to 500. Okay, wow, we eliminated. Okay, let's say 5 years of experience is required. Okay, we whittled it down even more. There's 300 left. 7 years, and I'm not kidding. Like, the employer doesn't know. I'm telling you, from the employer side of things, they don't know what they need. They just need somebody who can nail this job, that can add value to this company. And I'm talking from my own perspective. I need somebody who can rock what I think I need them to do, and then some. Just please create more value than you take, because I'm going to have to pay you X thousands of dollars a month now to be here, and I sure hope that you can actually create more value than you're taking. So when you have that stack, the job requirements that are mostly on there are to whittle down the stack. And I'm going to say something really important right now. When somebody says 4-year degree required, they don't mean it. They're trying to whittle down the stack so they have less to sort through. And if you roll the dice, think about it, it's probably a better bet to require somebody who had the discipline to go through 4 years. You're probably going to get a better group of people by putting that requirement on there than if you don't, right? But it doesn't mean it's not that it's actually required. Okay? We're having coffee right now. I'm telling you, it's not. Now, you're going to run into some HR groups and things like that, depending on the size of the company, government, things like that are like, this is a hard requirement. What I'm telling you is, when you read the job description, I want you to immediately think, okay, this is what they think they need. Let me do better. Let me show them that I can add value to what they're doing, right? Okay. So I'm going to put, so first off, this is why certification, most of you that know me know me as a certification instructor. You do Cisco certifications. You teach, Microsoft, like certification. I've been doing this for 20 years, right? When I left college, Jeremy left college, and I was struggling to figure out what to do and stumbled into certifications, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. In a tenth of the time, with a 100th of the expense, I got something that was super practical and people really valued, and I loved doing it. And that's why for 20 years, I'm like, certifications are awesome. So am I saying that they're not anymore? No, I'm not. I'm just saying, if you're looking for a job, there's a better way. So here's the struggle, and trust me, I'm getting right into it. I'm gonna there's about 200 milliseconds delay on your video. Fix it next time. I don't know what that means. So YouTube delays. I chose the ultra low latency, setting, so I could get as real time as I could with the chats that are coming in. But YouTube's like, warning, we will lower your quality if you choose. I'm like, that's fine. I want to be as real with you guys as I can, right? So just I don't know how to fix the 200 millisecond delay. Where was I? Okay. Am I saying a degree and certifications don't matter? No, I'm not. I'm saying they're marks. Certifications are marks that you can use to differentiate yourself faster than a college degree. Way cheaper, way faster. So when I'm talking to the youth of today, and I talk to a lot of them, I always say, if you haven't started college, don't. Go to college if you have to. Like if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor, there's only one path there. And by golly, it's college. Go do it. But if you want to do something that matters, because doctors and lawyers don't matter. If you want to do something, let me say that a different way. If you want to do something that accelerates your ability and doesn't leave you in tens of thousands of dollars of debt. That's what kills me with college, is they prey on the weakest people, the people that don't know any better. I didn't know any better when I came out. And I'm getting into college, and I paid the price. The only way you get out of a college degree is you die, right? So this business we call college preys on people that don't know any better, puts them in $100,000 of debt, and is like, good luck to you. I'm on a soapbox. Okay, so these are marks. A college degree is a mark. Really expensive one, and not as valuable nowadays as it used to be. Certifications are a mark. Much faster, much, in my opinion, better than a college degree. But let me tell you about how you get a job. Because the challenge that I see, and I even made a video on this YouTube channel on, so I have a CCNA, what do I do now? I see that all the time. Oh my gosh, I have a college degree. I just invested 4 years of my life. What do I do now? I got a CCNA, I got a CCIE, I got whatever the certification is, I got it. Now what? Because there's no roadmap for that. Certification is by a vendor. A college degree is by a college system. They give you their sheet of paper. They give you the PDF that you download and a little medallion or whatever you get. And they say, good luck to you, because we're not here to get you a job. We're here to give you a mark. So how do you get a job? I'm getting there. The first thing that you do is you realize, one, that employers don't know what they're looking for they have a general idea. They're just hoping somebody creates value. I explained that just a moment ago. But second off, you start creating your own marks. I'm going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you some examples of people that have worked for me, that I hired, that some of them have worked for free. And I'm going to tell you some good experience that I've had and some bad experience that I've had with it. So let me start with creating your marks. First, the best thing that I can encourage you to do, number one, is start living out loud. What I mean by that is start creating things online. And I'm not talking, if you can do videos, like my medium, the thing that I like doing best is doing videos. I'm a video guy. When I create things, I do my church announcements every week, and I record a video that's like this, that I do that's how I communicate well. If you can do that, that's amazing. Do that. Start creating, okay, well, what kind of videos do I create? I don't know, whatever you want. If you're interested in technology, start creating some cool technology videos. Some of you have seen on this YouTube channel, I posted a few videos on the Ubiquiti Dream Machine Pro. Why? Because I got it. I'm like, this thing's freaking cool. Let me create a video about it, right? Okay, maybe you're not a video person. Maybe it's hard for you to communicate over video. That's fine. Create a blog. Create a podcast. Create something. I'll give you an example of somebody that I almost hired. I'll call her Beth. Doing videos is fun for me. I love doing it. Writing is really fun for me, but really time consuming. And so I needed to find a writer for some of the videos that I did. So I'm on LinkedIn, right? I don't even so on LinkedIn I get literally thousands of friend requests just because of the social presence. I'm like accept. So anyway, I could go. So anyway, friend requests. I'm like, okay, you seem friendly. And so this one gal, I'll call her Beth, had a friend request, and she said in the little comment of what is it, friend, follower, whatever it is on LinkedIn. She said, I love what you're doing online. I would love to help in any way that I can. And I'm like, okay. And so I clicked on her profile and I saw that she had written some articles about, it was a networking topic. I don't want to hone in on who Beth is if somebody's searching, but she wrote a networking topic and I'm like, interesting. And I clicked it. I'm like, this is good. This is really good. And so I was like, okay. And I looked and she had like 5 other articles and I'm reading. I'm like, this gal is really good at writing. So I literally right then and there reached out to her on LinkedIn and I'm like, hey Beth, just saw some of your work. Curious if you would be interested in chatting. So here's where it went wrong. She was like, okay, and she kind of froze, right? I'm not saying like she froze, she couldn't type. She was like, okay, and I'm like, what's your number? She put in her number. I called her and she goes, is this really you? And I go, yeah, it is. I really like, so I'm talking to her and I'm finding out she's kind of frozen, or she's like, I don't know what to do. You just called me. And so I'm gonna get to this. Call it the interview process, right? But the fact is, I was ready to hire Beth right there, right now, because of the work that I saw her put on LinkedIn. Just 5 articles. I'm like, she can write, she knows what she's doing, and I love her tone of voice in her writing. I have a specific tone that I'm looking for. It nailed me as an employer. I want that. So start posting on LinkedIn. I mean, LinkedIn, it's built for businesses to connect with employers, right? Or I should say employees, right? Create a work, about, you don't know what to write about? Okay, you're studying, what are you studying for? I mean, if you're studying for, start writing about that. Tell me how subnetting works. Tell me how, or start recording some audio. I mean, put some audio, put some video. So if you're a creator, create blog posts, make your Facebook page awesome. If you're just like, I don't know if I want to do it, go, because here's the thing. Employers hire people. They don't hire a job description. So a good employer, let me say this. A good employer knows no one matches the job description, because people are human beings. And I know, because I've hired a lot of them, when you hire somebody, they're going to have a bunch of strengths and they're going to have a bunch of weaknesses. I heard it compared once. Hiring people is like buying a house. I don't know if you've ever bought a house before. You'll never, ever find the perfect house. You're like, okay, here's what I know I want. But you'll walk in and you're like, oh, this is it. And then you're like, but it doesn't have, it's not next to a grocery store. You know what, you see where I'm going, right? So you're like, well, but it has a swimming pool. That's cool. I didn't, that would be cool. I would like that. Hey, I got a buzzing fan in the background. Let me turn this off real quick. So hiring people from an employer's perspective is exactly the same thing. You know you're not going to find the perfect person. What you hope is that you find somebody who's mostly aligned with what you need. But man, if they could bring some other things as well, great. So how do you? So I'm gonna wind it back around right here. And then I just want to pause for a moment and take some of the questions. By the way, do super chats. Those help me see who really wants their question answered. But I just lost my train of thought. No. I was talking about people, hiring people. Man, between the fan and I said chats and then now it's gone. Okay, creating a body of work is a mark. Okay, you can spend 4 years in college, right? And that gives you 1 mark. You can get a certification and you have 1 mark. They're good marks. I'm not saying they're bad. They're a mark. But you could you could spend a weekend and create 5 articles on LinkedIn that a guy like me finds, or as you start applying for jobs, you're like, hey, FYI, take a look at my LinkedIn profile. Now, I'm not saying you have to use LinkedIn. I'm not saying go on Twitter. But I will say when somebody applies, I've learned I do a little research on that person if they get past that first interview. That means I'm going to their social media. I'm like, who are you really? Are you a terrorist? Are you like, am I gonna like, know that your social profile matters and your employers will look through, like it or not, personal, anything that you put online, a good employer will be like, okay, let me figure out who that person is. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't like LinkedIn, don't use LinkedIn. Create a WordPress site. Man, just the fact that you can create a WordPress site to an employer is like, oh, hey, they know how to create a blog. That's cool. Make it look good. Anyway, create a body of work. Every single one of those is a mark. Okay, so that's what I would call living out loud. The second thing, do not spray and pray your resume. It's so discouraging, so discouraging. It's discouraging for the employer because they're like, there's another one in the stack of 1,000, right? And it's discouraging for you because it takes time. First off, I will say, and I saw someone in the chat say, writing a cover letter makes a difference. It does. I will say that's yet another mark. Can they write? Did they do a little research about my company? Do they know about what we do? Are they really taking the time to personalize this? But realize a lot of people know that, and a lot of people write cover letters. So again, if you're just looking at the stack, employers are like, okay, take that chunk of 250 that have no cover letters and gone. Now you're down to 800, right? So again, reading cover letters takes time. So if it's like a 1-pager, you're like, ooh, yeah, okay. Again, remember, you're a stack of 800. So how else, what ways that you can differentiate yourselves? Target a company. Don't spray and pray. Find the ones that you're like, it would be really cool to work there. I'll get, for me, I have a dream of working at a coffee shop. I know, it sounds dumb, but ever since I was a kid, I'm like, it would just be cool. Maybe it's because I like coffee. Maybe it's because I'm like, I like talking to people and just hearing their stories and things like that. I suppose I could be a bartender as well, right? But coffee just seemed a little more tame. Like if I really liked coffee, maybe I could work for Starbucks. And you're like, well, obviously you're not going to Starbucks needs network engineers, right? Tesla, I love Tesla. They're fun. They're growing. So target where you're looking for in terms of the people that you're going after, and zone in. Figure out who works there. With LinkedIn, and I keep saying LinkedIn because LinkedIn is built for business. You know what I mean? You can go to Tesla and you can be like, okay, here's all the profile. My goodness, there's the VP of such and such. I wonder if I can send them a message, right? I wonder, now again, I'm talking giant Tesla. There's other people, but maybe find a company like mine, Via. Please don't flood me suddenly with all these messages. Hire, find smaller companies and be like, I think that guy, right? Now get his or her attention. Once you find out, okay, who's the person that's posting this position? Who needs the work? Maybe they don't even need work. I'm gonna tell you 2 stories right now of 2 people. Yeah, Chuck and I will start doing a coffee together. Daniel, that's a great comment. I'm going to tell you 2 stories of 2 guys that I hired for free. One of them, I'm changing the name, I'll say is Mike. This was probably about 2 years ago. Thanks Eric. Eric, you should be working right now. But Eric will know about Mike. So I hired a guy named Mike who literally on LinkedIn said, I'm in Arizona, I would work for you for free. Eric, you know who I'm talking about. And I was like, okay, I'm game. And so I brought Mike in and I'm like, all right, Mike, let's do this. He was looking for a job. He's like, I just need experience. Can I do this? I'm like, yeah. And I said, but first tell me, what do you got? He's like, well, I had a CCNA. I have a CCNA. It's from 2 years ago. I've been doing, I've worked in call centers. I'm like, awesome. You could really help here. Right. So I'm like, here's what we need. We're going to be configuring this guy. So let me tell you the story of Mike gone wrong. Mike ended up taking way more than he gave, in the sense that he wasn't he didn't have the skills to do the stuff that he said he did. Like he's like, I have a CCNA, I do networking, I've done call centers, I can take calls. He's like, I can do anything, I can sell, I can do, like he was selling his free labor, and I was like, I don't think this is going to work out. So literally, Mike worked for me for free for about a month. And by the time that month was over, I said, Mike, I've never done this before, but I have to let you go, which felt so odd because he was literally for free. I said, at this point, I need somebody who will contribute to the team, not take away from the team. We're just pouring in training, and you're absorbing it, which is great. But at the end of the day, I don't want to say it this way, but we're having coffee, right? I was like, you're kind of like a boat anchor. You're pulling the rest of the team down because they're all having to train you up, and you're just not kind of kicking in. So that's the story of Mike, the guy who works for free, that I had to let go. Another guy, we'll call him Sam. So Sam was exactly the opposite, and let me explain. As you know, I have this YouTube channel, I have LinkedIn, I have so I get a lot of people contacting me. So somehow Sam got my email address. I don't know how, but he sent an email. He's like, I really love what you're doing. I would love to join with you and all this kind of stuff. And we were talking about. I don't even want to share what topic it is, but he was like, I would love to help. And so I responded. I was like, okay, well, like I said, tell you what, I actually have a project that we're working on right now with one of our customers. What would you do for that? And he responded, he was like, great. He's like, here's what I would do. He's like, and he kind of laid it all out. I'm like, not bad. Sam is kind of rocking it right now. I'm like, that's the right answer. I would love that. And I was like, Sam, how much would you charge to do that? And Sam goes, I'll just say, here's the dollar amount. And I responded, I said, Sam, that's more than the whole job is bringing in for the company. That's more than we're charging the customer to do what we're doing. So thanks, I appreciate it, but I'm sorry, it's not going to work out. Sam replied, he goes, tell you what, I'll do it for free. And I was like, I've gone to this rodeo before, but I will say that Sam seemed a lot more motivated and could actually tell me exactly how he would help. And I said, Sam, go for it. Now, Sam doesn't even live in Arizona. Sam not only engaged from where he was, thanks COVID, by the way. Can I talk to you right now? What time is it? 11:30. Can I, brief little side tangent? With COVID, the world opened up to you. The whole world opened up to you right there. Because you can now work from home And it's expected, and a lot of times required, because people are like, "Don't get near me." I'm not gonna. So what I'm saying is, businesses are starting to be like, you know what? We can hire people in different areas of the world, different time zones, different everything, and they're just now discovering this. And that's one of the reasons I am. Right now is your opportunity to be like, I'm all in. Let me start going to a couple of people and showing them what I can do for free. So. The short version of the Sam story is he rocked it for free. What did it cost him? About 2 weeks of his time. 2 weeks of his time, and literally the customer was like, "This guy is amazing. You guys have an amazing asset in this." And I'm like, so I turned around to Sam. I'm like, "We don't have a position. We don't even have the budget right now. But based on what I just saw you do, I can't not acknowledge that you just rocked it." And I said, "How about can we?" And so long story short, Sam now works rocking it at VIA, and leading our teams to do things I never even thought possible. Now again, the tale of two free people, the tale of, who did I say, Mike, who was free, and literally, I was like, I'll take the risk. He jumped in and kind of was a boat anchor. He instead of adding value, he pulled. Now for anyone, I'm always assuming like there's going to be a few days of like, okay, where's the bathroom at this place? Who's that? What do you guys do? There's always that discovery. But literally after a month, we were still like, okay, no, you have to, Mike, okay, and it pulled the whole company down. The whole team down, I should say. Whereas Sam, also, same approach, came in and said, here's exactly how I will add value. That's how you open the door. You find places that you want to work. You see the kind of jobs they're posting, and you start creating a body of work. This is why I'm saying, live out loud. Start a blog. Start a YouTube channel. It doesn't have to have like 50,000 subscribers. It doesn't. Because the thing is employers want to hire a person that adds value. They don't want to hire a job description. They want you to blow their mind. I want you to blow my mind. I would want to hire somebody where I'm like, I had no idea this guy or this gal could do this, and oh my gosh, they have completely revolutionized this section and this. So many thoughts. The other thing I'll mention is every business needs the same stuff. All the business is a group. They still need people to answer the phones. They still need people to ship boxes, to receive boxes, to open the boxes and take out what's in the boxes and put the boxes on the shelf and inventory the boxes and make sure that we're charging the right price for the boxes and making sure that when that what they pull out of the box and they sell it to their customer, it gets sold to their customer in the right way. I mean, it's businesses are generic. They all need the same stuff. Start learning about businesses and start getting a little twisty with what you do. You might look at the job description and be like, I could rock that, but I don't have those four things. I'm not a Linux guy or a Linux gal, but I know that I could do those things. Take a stab. Again, you are a house to the employer. They're looking, they're like, okay, well, I wanted the swimming pool, but you don't have that, but you just brought up that you have 5 extra rooms. I would trade the swimming pool. I would trade the Linux side for anything. When I was and play it like that. Be confident in your ability. So here's what an employer wants to see: your ability to learn. If I could rewind, this is probably 16 years ago. Man, that's weird. I had a job interview at Intel. So I had a friend, his name was Brian McCann. He and I used to teach together in the classroom. This is back before e-learning took over the world. Actually, man, it might have even been longer than 16 years ago. He went to Intel, and I saw him be successful. I'm like, I want to go interview at Intel as well. And it was the coolest interview ever. I was sitting at a big round table. They had, for the position I was applying for, it was a sysadmin of some sort. They had people from, there was probably 8 people surrounding the table. And they said, they're asking questions like, okay, even then it was Active Directory. Tell me, okay, group policy. How would you restrict? Like they were just interviewing my technical skill, and then they said, I can't remember the exact question, but it was something with Linux, which I didn't know. And I said, they said, how if you had a Linux server, how would you do X, Y, Z? And I sat there and I go, well, I would probably go down that hallway to the darkest corner of it, open the door and find the Linux people, because that's usually where they are. And I would say, how do I create a server with XYZ? And the whole table started laughing because everybody knows like the true Linux people are usually a little more introverted, typically working in the dark. And I said, honestly, guys, I don't know how I would do that on a Linux server because Linux isn't my strength, but I know that I could learn it. And I will tell you right there, interview done. They said, we want this guy. So I could continue the rest of that story, but the point is the job description had 4 or 5 bullets that's like, you got to be a Linux person. When you get into the interview, if you can set a mark, set a flare, set a something that gets people to gets the employer to go, oh, that guy's different. Like maybe when you send in your resume, you do it digitally. And in the corner, you have a little YouTube video, and they click the button, and there's you. You're like, hi, Intel. My name's Mike. I am blah, blah, blah. So here, now I know some of you might be like, I'm not a good video person. I'm not really good interacting. Warning, you're gonna get to an interview where you're sitting with a whole group of people staring at you, and it's gonna be pretty high pressure. The beauty of doing an interview, a video, is you could be like, hi, I'm Mike. Oh, that's so dumb, so dumb. Hi, I'm Mike. No, hi, I'm Mike. You can take 500,000 takes, get the opinion of 5 other people, and then send that to the potential employer where they get an idea of who you are before you even get there. Because when you get to the interview, the real you is going to come out one way or the other, right? So why not give them a really good impression of who you know that you are, and who, if you could just get past that, like, I'm just not, I get nervous, man, it's good. Just see the comment. Most job counselors say avoid video and stuff. No, they're wrong. I don't know. Sorry, we're having coffee, right? Job counselor. So I don't want. So I could jump off on a whole tangent of headhunters, and there's a whole career in helping people find jobs, right? And I'm saying you don't have to do that. Let me tell you one. Matter of fact, here, let me do this. I'm going to. Can I share my screen? I think I can. Can you see this? I'm going to Google a guy. I didn't tell him about this. His name just popped into my head. Hey, there's me. Jeremy Stretch. Jeremy Stretch is a guy that probably 10, 15 years ago created this thing called packetlife.net. Let me and I've used this as an example in a few things. All it was, so it was about a year since, and you can tell he's like moved on in life. He wants to keep his blog alive, but he's just like, I'm busy now. I matter of fact, so some of you know about Netbox. This is the guy who built Netbox, and he started just like you. If you scroll back in blog number 1, he's like, I'm gonna study Cisco, and I'm gonna blog my journey. And he writes so well, so thorough. It's essentially his study notes, and his study notes evolved in something. That packetlife.net, Jeremy Stretch, is a literal living, breathing resume that Jeremy Stretch can go to any organization that's looking for a network engineer or more and say, that's my website. And they would start scrolling through that and be like, wow, this guy is on it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's That's that. Okay, so let me do this. It's 11:40 right now. I have so many other things to say. I'm just looking at my little notes. But I wanna just hang for a minute and take questions. Do that. Type in whatever questions you have. I'm gonna scroll up because again, as I'm talking, I lose my train of thoughts if I do this. So as I scroll back up, Daniel mentioned. I'll say I got into IT with just a GED. People really do care more about experience and skills than a degree, right? And that's why I said, Daniel, that's a really good comment. Is because you can build your own experience. You don't have to go get a job to get experience. That helps, obviously, but there's a lot of stuff you can build in your own little world right here. We should probably do a whole live stream just on that. Breaker, waiting for that VIA opening in Houston. We're going there. That's one of the next places VIA is heading out to. So will this stream be accessible afterwards? Yes, I'm gonna leave this up there because I wanna mention that. Me, Ryan P, and so I'm not screening, I'm just reading. Is it wise to take a big pay cut to gain experience? My job is a gray area, a little help desk, a little systems admin, a little DBA, just a little taste of each. Feels like I have to go down to go up. I would say, yes, there's times where if you're, and this is oftentimes where I see it more so where somebody's been in real estate or sales or something, and they're like, I just don't want to do that anymore. Can I jump to technology without taking my $70,000 a year job, let's just say, and dropping down to 20 and building my way back up, right? No, you don't. You don't. So Ryan, Ryan P, your question's a little different. People are looking for jack of all trades, which it feels like you have. You're like, I got a little of this, a little of that, a little of this. I've got a job. What can I do? So I would say, make your job a hobby and get really good at one of them. Whatever one. I know you're like, well, which one? Whatever one. Sysadmin, good. DBA, good. Help desk, good. I'm like, well, so at a help desk, build systems to make that help desk better. Build reports. Oh my gosh. We had a guy who actually it's Sam, the Sam guy I was talking about, who built reports for our help desk that showed what people were actually doing with their time in their day and how many calls that they took. And literally, we're still pouring over those reports right now. Like, oh my gosh. We thought person X was a rock star, and they're not doing anything. And now we have the data to prove it. So help desk, there's an idea, Ryan. If you can create yourself as like, I'm a help desk with a DBA. I know how to do databases. I can take your help desk and generate the reports that you need so that you can figure out who's doing what and make your business 100 times more efficient. People need data. So on that. So the short answer to your question, do I have to take a big pay cut? No, use what you've got. Like if you're sales, get into a sales engineer role. Still use that sales, but now you dip your toe in the tech. And as you slowly move more and more this way, you start, okay, the sales side, so there's ways that you can mix what you do and gravitate towards what you want to do, right? Got a networking job with no experience, just CCNA plus Encore's GeoCampus. Yeah, totally possible. And I've seen it happen many times. And I will say, just because I'm a certification nut, when somebody puts a CCNA on their resume, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to call that person. For me, that's a mark that's valuable to me. So yes, that will work for their own. Jan, Netbox question, another live stream we'll do on that one. How's the website name about Jeremy? Oh, keeping IT simple? I didn't want it to be about Jeremy. Is that what you're talking about? So it's really helpful. I was discouraged not knowing what to do after reading many job advertisements asking for many different things. Overcoming barriers is the question. Thanks a lot. So just to reiterate once again, when an employer publishes a job description, that's what they think they want. But I can tell you from the employer side, we don't know what we want. We just want somebody to come in and rock that stuff over here so this person doesn't keep getting sucked over there, or I don't keep getting sucked into that. We just need somebody to make sure that works well. And it seems like this bullet list is going to get that person. But if that person showed up and saw what we had and was like, I can rock that, I'm like, get the job description out. I'm hiring you. So a job description gives you a slant. It's not, and that's where I come back to the title of this. It's not that you have to have a college degree. It's not that you have to have 5 years of experience. You don't. They're just trying to whittle down the 1,000 resumes that they get to 100, right? Vinoth, thank you. Appreciate that. So let's see. Networking area is so diverse, so full of technology. How do you follow a path and learn a little bit of everything? That's a great question. So I'm going to hone into that question a little bit and say, how do you do something? How do you, it's so broad. There's so much. And I can tell you, after being in technology for 20 years, I still look at it. I'm like, it's so broad. It's so much. You'll never know it all. The key is to find. So if you're just getting started, find the technologies that most businesses need. And this is why I laugh when somebody's like, networking is going away. What? I don't know if you read the post lately, but the internet is kind of a critical thing to most organizations. So everybody needs networking. Now, the network engineer is evolving into somebody who can interface networking with a lot of other stuff through APIs and things like that. Learning Python, that'd be a good idea. But every business needs network. Every business needs somebody who can manage Office 365, Active Directory, Google Cloud. I mean, you could be somebody like in a matter of a week, just figure out how to work Google Cloud, for example, and then start looking for businesses that have somewhere in their job description, somebody just take care of Google Cloud. Because the idea of like, oh, it's all easy now. It's all in the cloud. It's easy. No. Sure, that you may not need somebody to set up a server and apply updates and things like that, but you still need somebody to take that and manage it and make sure your Google Drive doesn't turn to a mess, or your SharePoint site actually serves the people that it's trying to do. You still need somebody to set up the Microsoft Teams channels and make sure that it stays coherent. So it's not that. So it's just the job's changing. Instead of building servers, which you still need a lot of those people too, you now have people that say, okay, the stuff in the cloud, we need to manage that well. So keep that in mind. Pat, how's the PMP cert going? So PMP is actually, it's paused, we'll just say. I was going after a project management certification, and Sam actually beat me to it. So I'll tell you more about Sam later on. So it's paused for the time being. Keeping your certs current shows you're still willing to be interested. Yes. And the beauty of certifications, I want to make sure you don't walk away being like, oh, I don't need certifications. The beauty of certifications is it's a road, it's a path, right? If you're like, just somebody asks, how do I figure out, there's so much technology, how do I figure out what to be good at? That's why certifications are valuable. They're like, here, this is a path. Here's your Cisco CCNA. Follow that road. Now we acclaim that networking foundations, right? Otherwise, you're left to Google and you'll be lost forever. So it gives you the structure, is what certifications do. So Eric, been a while since we've talked. Remember when we first live streamed over Zoom? Yes, I remember you, Eric. I was struggling to get a pure networking job. Finally landed one, just like you said. It was the CCNA plus who you know. Eric, thank you. Can I mention social networking intentionally is a good thing. It is about who you know. If somebody in my company comes to me and is like, you gotta, let me tell you another story. You gotta meet this person. I'm gonna meet that person because you trust, as an employer, you trust who you know versus the 1,000 random people that you hope aren't axe murderers, right? Just being honest. So in my company, there was somebody, we'll call them Macbeth, right? I'm like a totally generic person who said, I used to work over at this this store in the mall, and there was somebody there who was my manager, and she was amazing. And I was like, okay, store in the mall, I'm like, Okay. And so I called store in the mall person X. And if they're listening to this right now, I'm talking about you. And she came over and blew me away. She had no technology experience, but she thought like a business. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. And I'm going to emphasize it again, every business is the same. They all create value for somebody else. Apple Computers creates laptops that everybody wants to buy but somebody has to box the laptop. Somebody, like, it's all the same. So she, as I talked to her, knew business. She knew, like, oh, well, okay, so you need somebody to manage this group of people. And I'm like, yeah, actually. Like, by the end of the interview, I had no purpose in interviewing her. I was just like, I just want to talk. By the end of the interview, she had told me what my business needs. Because she knew business. It wasn't that she had a business degree or anything. She just worked at a business in a mall that was in a lot of malls. And she went to different malls and trained the people in different malls. She's like, okay, I kind of get the whole thing. So she walked in and you know, I'm just talking with her, getting to know her. And she started asking me questions. She's like, well, who do you have watching? Who runs the reports for that? I'm like, I don't have anybody. I kind of run the reports every now and then. But is that something you could do? And she's like, yeah. And somebody who worked in the mall became one of the most productive employees I've ever hired because she knew business and she knew the needs of a company. And so that's what I'm telling you is most folks, and this is where, again, we're having coffee. I'm just telling, you're having the opportunity to sit down with somebody who's hired a lot of people, interviewed a lot of people. A lot of people come who just want a job. They're not sure how they'll provide value. Please just hire me. And as I get to know them, my tact for that, I'm not saying that's not valuable. But I want to hear them asking me, well, what about this? Do you have somebody, you know? But for that kind of person, I go more for, let me ask you questions that make you think, and let me see how you think. And would you be a good problem solver if I put you in there? What employers don't want to hire is somebody that they bring in and that person sits there. This is the story of Mike, the guy who said he'd work for me for free. He sat there waiting to be told what to do. So I know I'm talking more now about once you get in the door, but this is key to how you can open the door, is be that person that looks at the business, sees the job description, and starts thinking, oh, if they're looking for this kind of person, what kind of problems would they be trying to solve? Let me do a little research. Like, why would you need this person X? And so on and so forth. Chuck showed up, throws $10 in my way. Chuck, thank you. Okay, back to the question. So I've got 5 minutes left. Then I got to go to Costco because they're selling out of toilet paper again. Get toilet paper. That's what my wife said. So where are we? I've lost it. They're coming in too fast. Squirrel. So let's see. Interview videos when. I'm sorry, I've lost it now. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go Aldo magic. Could accumulation of certs without an IT job become a double-edged sword? Yes. Thank you, Aldo. Can I like that? How do I like that? Like, pin message. Aldo, I just pinned your message. Pinned. And how do I like that? I'm gonna try and not in the last 4 minutes. The question, what certification should I get next? I get that question a lot. So it's always prefaced with, I just got my A+, Net+, CCNA, my MCSA, my fill in the blank. I just got my certification X. Now what should I get? Should I diversify? Should I go deeper? And you know what my answer is every single time to Aldo's pin question? What are you trying to do? What need are you trying to meet? Because yes, if I see somebody that have all of these certifications and no real world experience, What that tells me is this is somebody who's the eternal student. Also the kiss of death for an employer. Somebody who just likes to study and pass tests, but doesn't actually like to work hard. Because I will tell you, even your dream job, it's still called work, right? There's gonna be days where you're just like, oh, this is miserable. So Eric, I don't know if he's still in here. Eric and I, you know where we were last night at midnight? Sitting in a data center. Bringing up new connections to a service provider, 5 gig connections from 1 gig. We were changing interfaces, and it was probably one of the best things. We got there at 10 p.m. We left at 12. Eric, help me out. 12:30 a.m. And it wasn't. I mean, I always smile when I'm there because I'm a positive guy, but it wasn't fun. I wanted to go to sleep, right? And so when I see somebody with all these certifications but no experience, I'm like, okay, this is somebody who just likes to study and learn. They may not, like, I'm like, the right answer to the question that Aldo's bringing up, I just got my CCNA, what cert do I get next? I say, you don't. You get a job. You have enough now to have 1 mark. Start doing the stuff that I said earlier in this webinar. Live stream, webinar. Where did that come from? Do the stuff I mentioned earlier, get a job, and then ask the employer, now what do you want me to do? Oh no, I see okay, hang on, it was spinning like it was hung. Now what do you want me to do? And if the employer's like, I want you to become a VMware superstar, be like, VMware, here I come. That's the next cert that you're getting, right? I want you to figure out how to deploy network documentation. So see, here's the thing, is once you're in, a lot of times certifications are guided by the employer, or the employer would just like, I don't really care. I just need you to figure out problem X because it can't hit me anymore. Oh no, I'm getting messages from YouTube saying I'm not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. That must YouTube's like, it's like the hook that they're pulling me off the stage. So that's the story. Okay. Thank you. I can't even say the name. Who said go to Costco? You have to do it now, like right now. The world's ending. Come on, get some toilet paper. We all know that's the one thing that we're going to need to survive. All right, good. Guys, this has been so cool. I hope this has been valuable. I got through like half of the points I wanted to talk about, but I feel as though I've given you enough to get started. Make your mark. That's how I'll close this. Create your marks. If you're looking for a job, create your marks that signal to an employer why they should hire you. You can create a blog. You can work for free, but obviously give them value. By the way, when you work for free, when you're like, I would work for you for free, and you show up and you flop down, you just killed that employer. They're like, I will never hire somebody else for free. Because they like, yeah, so that's, keep that in mind. Do side projects, volunteer, find somebody on LinkedIn that's in your area who's doing consulting and be like, hey, can I come? I mean, again, like I said, I got through half my stuff. Make your marks. And when I'm not saying like do stuff, I'm saying create something that signals to an employer, I can trust this person, and it's got to be beyond a resume. If you're a resume, you are in a stack of thousands of other resumes hoping for the lottery. Now, again, it's a 1 in 1,000 chance you'll get a call back, right? Make your marks, accumulate your marks, and then go after the jobs that you want. Don't just spray and pray the resume everywhere. So that's what I'll leave you with for now. So, my friends, I'm going to Costco. I'm getting some toilet paper. See ya.